Hi guys, how are you? Today I want to talk about punishments. So I had somebody say children need punishment because they need to learn that life has consequences. And you're right, life does have consequences. But life doesn't have illogical punishments. Life has natural consequences. So if you don't pay your rent, naturally you're going to get kicked out of your flat or your house. You know, if you don't do well at your job, naturally, after speaking to you a few times, your boss will let you go. They are natural consequences. A natural consequence is also if you leave your jacket at home, you're going to be cold. If you break something that you like, you may not have the money to afford to buy a new one. A natural consequence is if you don't share with your friends, or you're not nice to your friends, you may not have friends. That's a natural consequence. Illogical punishments are things like naughty steps, things like timeouts, things like taking things away from our children. You know, nobody takes my car off me if I speak to them in a way that they didn't like. So why are we doing this to kids? Nobody punishes me if I don't clean my room. So why are we doing this to children? That's not a part of adulthood. Illogical punishments are not part of being an adult. Natural consequences are. But, you know, if I don't do something that someone wants, that I don't then get punished and I can't go to Sinead's birthday, that's not part of life. As an adult, I get to choose what I do. Punishments just, they really don't make any sense when you actually look at them and think, we're raising these children to come into adulthood, so why are we putting in these things that aren't part of adulthood? Now I hear you say, I punish my child because they don't listen. Here's the thing, children only listen if they're being listened to. If you are not validating and listening to your child and genuinely giving them the respect that they deserve, they're not going to listen to you. And you can say, I'm an adult, I'm this, you know, they should naturally respect you, but that's not the real world. That's not the real world. That's not the world we live in. Okay, you can moan and bitch about that as much as you like, but in this world, you get respect if you've earned it and if you treat other people with respect. My daughter, I notice if I do not sit and play with her and have one-on-one connection, she won't listen to a damn thing I say. And if I don't validate her and make her feel like she's respected and loved, she doesn't listen. It is the same with us. How do you treat your partner when they don't listen to you? I know I've been guilty of in the past doing the same thing right back to them. If they don't listen to me, I won't listen to you. That is just human nature. The other thing to think about is, how do you want other people to treat your children? Because the way you treat your child is how another person will treat your child. And that is the way your child will let someone treat them. You wonder why these women that are in abusive relationships, but their parents, their dads, their mums spoke to them in the same way that their boyfriend speaks to them. The brain is obsessed with the familiar. Whether that's good or bad, that doesn't matter. But if you have been raised in an environment where people have been yelling and screaming at you, when your partner does it to you, it's still going to be normal and you're going to put up with that. I don't want anyone in this world to treat my daughter badly. I want her to be able to stand up and say, why are you speaking to me that way? What is wrong with you? Or something to that degree. I want her to demand respect And that means that I have to give her the respect so that she has a standard in her life of how people treat her, and she demands that she gets that respect. And because we've modeled that respect, our children will learn to give other people that respect. This way, we can stop our children from being hurt by abusers if they know how to speak up for themselves, if we encourage them to say no, if we encourage their boundaries, if we ask consent, we can stop abuse happening to our kids. But we have to model emotional regulation as adults. And part of that emotional regulation is not giving out illogical punishments. Can you imagine your reaction if you saw a husband speak to a wife or yell at a wife when he was frustrated? Can you imagine that and what you would think of that person and that relationship and that dynamic? Now I want you to look at your children or other people's children and think, why is it abuse when it's done to two adults, but it's not abuse when it's a parent speaking to a child? What makes it different? Because there really is no difference except age. Can you imagine what you would think of someone who told their wife or their husband to go and have time out and sit on the naughty step? I would be speaking to them about domestic violence. I would be speaking to them about respect. I would be asking, why are you putting up with this? And yet we do it to our kids. The people that we claim to love the most, we also hurt the most. This has got to change. I would never yell at a stranger. I have absolutely no feelings for a stranger. That means I will never yell at my daughter, who I love more than anybody in this world. If I treat my boss with respect, I will treat my daughter with 10 times the respect. And that is what we should all be doing, to teach our kids, teach our children that they are worth so much. The reason that we grow up with shame, guilt, self-limiting beliefs is because of the way we have been parented. It's because of the things that our parents have told us consciously and unconsciously. And when you punish children, you are unconsciously telling them that they are not worth it, that they aren't good enough, and that you're taking your love away from them. Can you imagine how deeply that would affect someone? We've really got to do better. Look at the mess that this world is in. We've got to start with our children. And if we do this, if we are able to do this, in 1 or 2 generations, we could have changed society and changed the world. And I know a lot of people think, you can't change the world, Annalise. You know, we should be raising our children for a better society. Not so that they can live in this messed up world. No. If we all raise our children based on what the world could be, if we all made the effort, we could get there. The biggest mistake people make is giving up their power. And they give up their power because they don't think they have any. You are so strong. You have so much power, and you are able to change this world. All you have to do is start with yourself. And I hear some people say, you know, I've always felt little. People have always belittled me. They have always abused me. They have always spoke to me like I'm nothing. And I would argue The reason that someone felt that they had to treat you like that is not because you were nothing. In fact, it's the opposite. It's because they could see just how powerful you are and could be. Take that back. Learn emotional regulation. Start with our children and teach them how powerful they are. And your life and their life will absolutely flourish. And all those generations of trauma that have been passed down to you, you will break that cycle. And for the next thousands of generations after you, you will have started a cycle of love, happiness, wealth, prosperity. And that's because of you, and that is something to be so damn proud of. But it starts with choosing a different way to speak to our children and a different way to act. When they're not listening, the best thing we can do is sit down and have time-ins, which is basically just sitting down, discussing their behavior with them, discussing other options, asking them what they think could have been done instead, and really just giving the respect, empathy, and validation that we all crave. Humans have three core emotional needs: to be seen, to be heard, and to be unconditionally accepted. If we can do that to our kids, we will change the world. You guys have got this. See you later.